I'm back at the pond today to talk about my waterfall. I do get some questions about my waterfall, so I thought I'd give you a tour, explain how it works, how I built it, and some of the mistakes I made along the way. And I made a couple doozies, so we'll get into that a little bit later. So one of the advantages of digging a big hole in the ground is that you get plenty of dirt to work with. All this back here, this ridge here, that's obviously all dirt from the dig. And then I concentrated it over here for my waterfall to give that a base. So the falls consist of two bowls. I got this upper one here, which flows into this one here, and then gravity does the rest, and it just flows down here into the pond. The back edge of this top bowl, it's pretty straight, so I just have it broken up visually with some logs and some sticks and some branches and stuff. It's a pretty popular place for frogs to hang out. You might be able to see a couple. There's a little guy there, a guy up there. Basically, water flows from this PVC pipe right there. And I have a 3-4 inch hose under the dirt that comes down here, down here, down here, down here. And my pump is right there submerged under the water. So I disconnected and pulled the pump up to show you. It's a Tetra brand 1,000 gallon per hour pump. I think I paid around $80 for it. It's kind of mid-range. You probably wouldn't want to go any smaller than this for a waterfall pump. Any bigger might be a little bit overkill. You basically just need to, to get it into the upper level and let gravity do the rest. So a little bit of maintenance. Every once in a while I have to clean off this intake here. It gets clogged up with stuff. I have seen some that come with a kind of a foam pre-filter that's, I guess, supposed to filter the water. I used to have one of those. It was pretty useless, and it got clogged up so fast that I eventually just pulled the spongy part out and just have it flow like this. This grate here is pretty good about keeping stuff out of the inner workings of the pump. And I hooked up a short piece of hose there to show you what 1,000 gallons per hour looks like. It's kind of hard to tell until you get these things home and turn them on exactly how much water passes through these things. I used to have a pump that had a little dial where you could turn it up and down to your liking. This one doesn't have it. I'm fine without that, but that is an optional feature that you might want to look for if that interests you. And as far as electricity goes, I just have the pump connected to a heavy-duty extension cord that goes underneath the deck here and then into my garage through that hole right there. And it comes in through my messy garage to this, which is probably the most important part of having a waterfall, which is the GFCI outlet. This will trip if the electric current comes in contact with water, which is obviously very important. It's easy to install, cheap, you can do it yourself. And it comes in handy. At my last pond, I actually had one of these, and every time I plugged in my pump, it would trip. So something was wrong with the pump. This prevented the electric current from going in the pond, which is obviously dangerous to humans and probably not a good idea for the ecosystem as well. So make sure you have one of these puppies installed. So what is the waterfall built from? What materials did I use? I actually started off last year with just a little bit of leftover pond liner. I dug a couple holes, put pond liner underneath it to make it waterproof, but that didn't survive the winter. This spring I found it was leaking, so I decided to completely rebuild it, and this time I used concrete. Just bags of mix-it-yourself concrete. There's pond liner underneath the concrete, so it is waterproof if water were to seep through the concrete. What I didn't realize is how porous concrete is. I tried to just fill this up without any kind of seal, and it just completely bled out into the dirt. It was still waterproof thanks to the pond liner underneath, but I mean it was like a sponge. It just completely soaked outwards. So I got some waterproof liquid paint or liquid rubber. And I started off with a bunch of layers of that. That material didn't work so well, and the final coating is Flex Seal. A couple different coats of that, and Flex Seal is actually working very well. It's held water and it's working good. Visually, it doesn't look the greatest. The color of Flex Seal I got is a gray, which kind of has a bluish tinge, if you ask me. I tried to break up the color a little bit by just painting different shades of earth tones with sponges. As you can see, that paint doesn't really last, but I thought I'd do it as an experiment. Doesn't look too terrible. If you kind of just glance at it, it kind of looks normal, like rock, but visually speaking, not the best. I try to do what I can with, rocks and stuff like that, but this right here, this lip is actually a piece of glass that I had lying around. So I have this along here to make the spillway, and that's just covered with Flex Seal too. So overall, I'm very happy with how it works. The actual flow of the water, it doesn't leak, anything like that. Visually, aesthetically, I don't know. I give myself a B- or so. I've never been happy with the color of the concrete. There's a bit of liner over there that I'm trying to allow plants to cover up, but so far that hasn't happened, but I think it will, hopefully by next year. Got a little bit of liner peeking down there. I just kind of have to live with that. I suppose I could cover it up if I really tried, but it doesn't bug me all that much. But who knows, maybe since I built it, I know exactly what it looks like, and I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks fake? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. So this was my first try of the waterfall back when I built the pond. I just used some scrap liner. And like I said, over the winter, it got unlevel, so the water started coming off the sides and leaking. So I took all that down and I rebuilt it, put in a lot more dirt, made it bigger, had some bricks laying around. I used those to help support the vertical parts there, and I started digging the two bowls, came up with the shape and size. I took some more scrap liner that I had left over and put some chicken wire over the top of that to help give the concrete something to adhere to. It made it a lot easier to spread. And I think I used about 2 bags of concrete. There's the finished product. And yeah, it was just real porous, like I said before, so I had to start thinking of what I could use to seal this up. So I started researching products on Amazon. The first thing I came up with was Liquid Rubber brand. I needed to use a lot of layers of this, and it's water soluble, water based, I mean. So water from the damp concrete, every time it would rain, it would kind of come up and bubble up, and it would not cure properly. It was a nightmare. So I bought some Flex Seal. This stuff was good. It's not water based, so it cured a lot easier, even if the concrete was damp. Pretty pricey. It's about $90 a gallon, but it worked well, and I'm really happy with the way that turned out. And that's what it looked like when I was done. It was all sealed up, waterproof, worked well, and then after that, I needed to make it look a little better than that right there. So yeah, that's how I built my waterfall. I really enjoyed coming up with the design and doing it myself. It was a good time, and I'm happy with the end result. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And don't forget to click like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.